In Ecuador, vice presidential candidate of the country, Diego Borja of the Citizens' Revolution Movement Party, denounced that immigration authorities tried to detain him and prevent him from leaving the country. The Chinese government assured to the United States that it is not afraid of Trump's trade war after the White House imposed an increase of 245% tariff on imports. And hundreds of demonstrators marched in the city of Ramallah in the occupied West Bank on Wednesday to commemorate Palestinian Prisoners' Day and demand the release of those detained by the Israeli regime. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. The former vice presidential candidate of Ecuador, Diego Borja of the Citizens' Revolution Movement Party, denounced this Wednesday that immigration authorities tried to detain him and prevent him from leaving the country. The incident occurred when the leftist politician tried to enter Colombia with his wife for tourism during Holy Week. He also said that the immigration authorities at the Rumichaca bridge tried to detain him and even took his identity card from him without a court order, without any explanation and with absolute arrogance. He also added that he considered this action a reprisal for defending a political project that has always believed in social justice, the distribution of prosperity, sovereignty and dignity. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum addressed the recent elections in Ecuador and confirmed her country would not resume relations with the South American nation, while highlighting that Noboa's triumph was doubtful.
It is observed that the fact that the President of the Republic did not request a leave of absence in these elections had an impact on the fairness of the electoral campaign and weakened the institutionality of the state. This is stated by the OAS. So, to begin with, we do not have relations with Ecuador, nor will we continue to have relations with Ecuador as long as Noboa holds the office as president, because he was responsible for the invasion of the Mexican embassy, of our sovereignty. Relations are not going to be resumed. Furthermore, his triumph was very doubtful. And this was recognized by the OAS itself. It is another international organization. And the other candidate is saying that there was fraud. So from our side, relations with Ecuador will not be resumed.
Venezuela categorically rejected the arrival and possible operation of the FPSO-1 Guyana vessel to the Starbreak block, a maritime area pending delimitation. Through an official statement published by the Foreign Minister Ivan Gil, Venezuela described this as an illegal action in a maritime area pending delimitation, where Venezuela maintains historical and legitimate rights. The statement goes on to state that this maneuver, promoted by the government of Guyana in alliance with ExxonMobil, constitutes a violation of fundamental principles of international law, which require refraining from adopting unilateral measures in areas without agreed delimitation. Finally, the government highlights that Venezuela does not recognize any concession granted in this area and warns the companies involved that they may be subject to legal action and that they will not be granted any rights over the illegally exploited resources. The statement ended by reaffirming Venezuela's commitment to peace, underscoring it will continue defending its sovereignty. Venezuela is moving towards the formation of a new state where the communes are the protagonists. Do you want to know how these communal projects have advanced in Venezuela? Let's take a look at the following report of our colleague Leonardo Urrieta.
Commune located in the state of Miranda, in the north-central part of the country, is composed by 5 communal councils, The organized community has executed 3 projects approved in the popular consultations that have been carried out in this country.
The first project of 2024 is where we are right now. It is this wall that we recovered, 27 meters by 6 meters, .20 wide. And well, we made this boulevard that you can see where we are right now. It took us 20 days to make this wall, and we already had the whole program since it fell in 2020.
The works approved was the construction of 132 stairs to facilitate the mobility of the elderly. As in the case of Mr. Jesus Gonzalez, 65 years old, who had been unable to leave his house for 2 years.
This project was the one we were waiting for, because the stairs were very, very damaged. They were not as safe as they are now with the handrails, and with this we all benefit. Some of us can go out more than others because of the health difficulties we have. Some more than others can go out now to do the errands we want. And this project came as a surprise, because we had been waiting for it for a long time. And the day it came, it was a blessing for us. Well, we are asking the citizens themselves, look, these are the projects. Which one is the most convenient for you? Which is the most convenient for the community? For the benefit of all this is the initial part, and from then on people will realize that it is worth it.
Local residents prepare to elect new projects in the 4th popular consultation to be held on April 27th.
The participation more than anything else of the communities, of the people, the members of our community. They are the participants. They are the ones who guarantee the projects, so the importance of celebrating that day is that the whole community participates so that their dream becomes a reality.
Adriana Gonzalez is one of the beneficiaries of the 200 communal warehouses that have been inaugurated in the sector.
Today we offer delicatessen, we offer groceries, and today we are, as they say, enlarged. Now we are going to offer protein, and we are going to offer vegetables, fruits and vegetables. But this is an opportunity to offer a more complex service to the community.
We have to ensure that these bodegas, that this plan, which is framed in the José Antonio de Sucre plan, is a plan that truly delivers to each territory what the plan means for the communal bodega.
The communes work under the National Development Plan known as the 7 Transformations, promoted by the Venezuelan government, which seeks to build a new state.
En la Cámara de Marcos da Silva, Leonardo Urrieta, Telesur, Miranda, Venezuela.
In Brazil, women's organizations, students and family members of Tainara Santos continue to demand justice in a demonstration in Cachoeira after the feminicide of the 27-year-old. Those who gathered seek effective action by the authorities for a sentence for the murder of the young woman who disappeared after meeting with her ex-partner George Anderson Santos last October 9, 2024, against whom she had a protection order. In 2024, Brazil registered a total of 1,459 femicides. Moreover, since the approval of the law that created the crime of femicide 10 years ago, the southern country has registered at least 11,859 victims until January 2024. The Argentine President Javier Milei and his sister Karina Milei were summoned to a prejudicial hearing for the Libra cryptocurrency fraud. Attorney Nicolas Ossold, who represents some 25 Argentine and foreign victims, summoned the heads of the libertarian government and other officials for May 15th, alleging a direct damage estimated at $4.5 million. This would be a preliminary hearing, a mandatory mediation prior to the filing of a civil lawsuit for damages. This Tuesday marked 2 months since the crypto scandal, which began when President Javier Milei promoted the purchase of the Libra cryptocurrency through the social network X. The token afterwards fell sharply, causing millionaire losses and fraud allegations. This Wednesday, Cubans remember a new anniversary of the declaration of the socialist character of the revolution. 64 years ago, on April 16, 1961, Fidel Castro addressed the crowds gathered at the corner of the 23rd and 12th Avenues in Havana during an act honoring the victims of recent U.S. bombings. At that moment, the Cuban leader ratified before the people and the world that the revolution was socialist in nature, as the workers vowed to defend their conquest. Every year, Cubans gathered at the same corner of the capital city to remember and ratify that same commitment. And now we have a short break coming up. But first, remember, you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. China assures to the United States that it is not afraid of Trump's trade war after the White House imposed a tariff increase of 245%. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Lin Jian stressed that China has repeatedly declared its solemn position on the tariff issue. In this regard, Beijing took its measures to safeguard its legitimate rights, international fairness and justice. Meanwhile, the official pointed out that tariff and trade wars have no winner, and China does not want to wage these wars. Therefore, it is not afraid of them. For his part, the Minister of Economy, Shen Lianyun, said that the imposition of high tariffs by the White House will exert pressure on foreign trade and Beijing's economy.
China's position has been very clear. There is no winner in a tariff war or a trade war. China does not want to fight, but it is not afraid to fight. If the U.S. really wants to resolve the issue through dialogue and negotiation, it should stop exerting extreme pressure, stop threatening and blackmailing, and talk to China on the basis of equality, respect, and mutual benefit.
Malaysia and China ensured the strengthening of bilateral relations by signing 31 Memorandum of Understanding on Wednesday. In this regard, the Malaysian Investment, Trade and Industry Minister Tengku Safrul stated that the signed agreements proved both parties' commitment to boost investment and trade in new technologies, artificial intelligence and semiconductors. He further highlighted China had been both the main trading partner of Malaysia for over 16 years and one of the largest investors in 10 years. While in the country for an official visit, the Chinese President Xi Jinping, who observed the signing, also met with Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim to debate on bilateral cooperation. In this context, both leaders stressed the need to strengthen cooperation in the face of shocks to global order and economic globalization.
We reached a number of important common understandings on taking our broad cooperation to greater depths in the face of shocks to global order and economic globalization. China and Malaysia will stand with countries in the region to combat the undercurrents of geopolitical and camp-based confrontation, as well as the counter-currents of unilateralism and protectionism. And together we'll safeguard the bright prospects of our Asian family.
Amid this turbulence, China has been a rational, strong and reliable partner. Malaysia values this consistency. Malaysia will remain an unwavering and principled friend to China, guided by the wisdom of history and the promise of the future. Our foreign policy is shaped by a clear-eyed vision of our interests. We do not simply favor cooperation over confrontation. We embrace it. We do not merely prefer respect over rivalry. We uphold it. And we choose dialogue not simply because it suits us, but as a cornerstone of lasting peace and prosperity.
We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English. There you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break, we'll be right back. Welcome back to From the South. Hundreds of demonstrators marched in the city of Ramallah in the occupied West Bank on Wednesday to commemorate Palestinian Prisoners' Day and demand the release of the more than 10,000 detained by the Israeli regime. Protesters gathered in the Manara Square, chanting slogans, waving Palestinian flags and holding pictures of their relatives in Israeli prisons. Palestinian detainees have denounced for years the mistreatments and abuse they suffer at the hands of Israeli officials during captivity, which range from regular beatings to medical neglect and hunger. The Zionist regime has intensified its detention campaign since October 2023, capturing thousands of Palestinians, with children making up a significant portion of the figures, an act that is heavily condemned by Palestinian activists and human rights organizations.
We demand that all officials exert pressure to free our prisoners and empty the prisons. My son Ahmed was released about 2 months ago, after spending 20 months in captivity. His situation is difficult and tragic. He left prison very tired, and to this day we visit many doctors to treat him. We do not want to wait until they tell us that their brother, Fadi, was martyred in prison due to medical neglect and starvation.
Approximately 500 graduates of the Israeli Army Reserve Commanders Corps signed a petition calling on the regime to return detainees and end aggressions in the Gaza Strip. Reportedly, 472 former Special Forces Reserve fighters have endorsed the demand. Meanwhile, the Daily Haaretz announced that some 1,700 artists and intellectuals in Israel have signed another petition demanding the release of Israeli prisoners and the cessation of brutalities. The newspaper noted that the number of Israelis who signed petitions to stop the aggressions and return the hostages exceeded 100,000 people in 5 days. This comes at a time of increasing internal pressure on the cabinet of Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. In other news, Jordan's intelligence department announced having frustrated a series of dangerous plots aimed at destabilizing the country, inciting chaos and causing material destruction. According to the General Intelligence Department, 16 individuals belonging to the Muslim Brotherhood suspected of involvement in the plans have been arrested. The group allegedly worked on manufacturing rockets using both locally sourced tools and smuggled components as part of illegal activities, posing a serious threat to national security. Jordanian media reported that the suspects sought to recruit and train individuals within the country, and some members were even sent abroad to receive specialized training. Niger's Transitional Council declared Hausa as their national language, abandoning French as a decolonization measure. Hausa is the most widely spoken language in Niger, followed by Sarma Songhai. French had been the official language since 1960, when the Europeans colonized the territory, imposing French as the national language, although Hausa was the most widely spoken. It is worth noting that Niger withdrew from the International Organization of Francophonie last month and recently renamed several streets which previously had French names in its capital, the city of Niamey, all part of the symbolic decolonization of the Nigerian territory. Pope Francis received a group of doctors and staff from Rome's Gemelli Hospital in the Vatican and thanked them for their good work. During the 20 minutes meeting, the pontiff expressed his gratitude to physicians and staff at Rome's Gemelli Hospital, along with members of its affiliated university and structures, where he received medical care for 38 days for a polymicrobial respiratory infection that resulted in bilateral pneumonia. The Pope was released from the hospital under protected discharge on March 23rd, with his condition showing further slight respiratory mobility and voice-related improvements, as noted in briefs from the Holy See press office. And with this information, we have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram and TikTok as well. For Telesur English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.